Hey everyone, this is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and this is
Cody.
Cody
Cody
Leach.
Leach. So we've had Cody on about a year ago, and we reached out to Cody, and Cody's number one got an awesome channel. If you haven't subbed to his channel, congratulations! I think you just went over the 203, 204,000, Cody.
Yeah, I hit 200,000 a couple weeks ago, and I'm close to 204, I think, somewhere in there.
Awesome, man.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Do
Congrats.
they send you a second plaque for once you hit 200,000, or does it just go to the next one up, a million or something?
It's 100,000, a million, and then 10 million.
Oh wow. Well, maybe you'll come back when you hit the million, and we'll definitely have you on then. But Josh, we got a big series coming up, right? New movie coming out next week for a series that a lot of people love this. And we finally finished off the movies, so we can say we've watched all of them. But I'll let you take over on what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, so we're going to actually go over the Conjuring franchise, the universe. I have been very critical of this and have heard it from their fan base. Believe me,
we've gotten some hate on this, right, Josh? I mean, people wanted to stab us and everything else.
Definitely, we've had some. People love this franchise, and I didn't realize that, honestly. I really didn't, because besides a couple, I never really paid much attention to them, and I mean, the first time I said something bad about them is like, what? It's the greatest thing. It's made the most money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it did? I assumed it was Friday the 13th or something, but no. Conjuring Universe has made the most money in like a universe type thing, a franchise. And I was blown away by that, to be honest. But yes, we're going to rank these, and from worst to best. That's a loose term there.
Yeah.
And
There's a couple good ones.
No, there is. Yeah, there is. So yeah. Mike.
Also, we want to put in a quick plug real quick. We just started a Facebook group called the Horror Vault 247. It's less than a week old for the old heads like me that are old, that still believe in Facebook. We're also looking at a Discord too. Check that out. We'll add you in there, but it's talking about horror movies, cons, movie reviews. We're big horror convention, and collectibles is one thing we love to do, and that's something I know Cody's gotten into here recently. But I say we just go right into this, and let's knock these out. This is 29 of them each that we're going to have to say in order. And Cody, you want to go first? Like, who's number 9 on your list, and we'll go down to 1.
Sure. I do need to preface this by saying my memory is not great on over half of this franchise, which should tell you how much I like over half of this franchise. So, I mean, my bottom 3 are kind of almost tied at this point. But as of right now, I just put the one that I did not like and I remember absolutely the least about, and that's The Curse of La Llorona. This is one that I never would have had any interest in the first place, but it came out and it was like this, like almost like backdoor Conjuring entry where they kind of acknowledged it, but kind of didn't. And it was very confusing and weird. It seemed like just one of those, like almost cable TV type movies that were coming out. And then all of a sudden you saw in the advertisements and people were talking about, oh, it's a secret Conjuring sequel. And you're like, what?
Really?
You say secret sequel and you're thinking of something like Split, where you get the end and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Not the case here. So I love, oh my God, I'm blanking on the actress's name. She's playing Pamela Voorhees. Linda Cardellini, thank you. Yeah, I love Linda Cardellini. So she's good in this as the mom. The guy that plays the priest is always pretty good. But, for a pretty prominent, like, supernatural figure in the Hispanic community, it just feels like a regular haunted house movie.
Right.
It's just a ghost. And, I remember nothing about it other than the scare where the doors slowly close and then you see La Llorona and then Linda Cardellini's like, no! And then the door shuts. Like, that's the only scene of 90 minutes I remember. So I'm putting it at number 9 because, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. I got it at number 9 too. And I had kind of seen people talk about this, like for other reviews, and a lot of people that are from the Hispanic community and stuff, they say this could be a really scary movie if you were raised with this story and all of that. I mean, that's what I've seen. To me, it stunk. It wasn't good. I mean, Linda, she was good, but for the most part, it was just pick a jump scare. Basically, it was just it should be kind of jump scare the movie. I mean, that's what it should have been. Yeah, that's number 9 for me. Mike?
I'm going to pick a different one, but I'm kind of like Cody said originally. The bottom 3 or 4 in these just stink overall. Now, I did try to write some pros and cons, even on those that stink. I've got The Nun 2018. I know Valak is huge. People love Valak. I love Valak. The character itself, the demon itself that makes up Valak, I think is an awesome, and was it Bonnie Aarons that played Valak? She's awesome. I just, the pros is the connection to the universe, going all the way back to Conjuring 2, I believe that is the first appearance of Alec. But the weakness to me is the characters and the overuse of jump scares. I just thought that movie is, and I think the pacing is really bad in there. And it's another one of those, to me, Josh and I kind of laughed about this because, we didn't tell each other ahead of time the rankings, but every damn Conjuring movie is like 2 hours long. And like, you don't have to be 2 hours. If you cut it to 90 to 100 minutes, it would make things a lot. With some of these, I just don't think you can help them. But The Nun 2018 is number 9 for me. And so a little bit difference there, but now we'll go to number 8. Cody, what you got for number 8?
Yeah, it's The Nun. I feel we're going to be kind of redundant here for the first 20 minutes. Right. The Nun to me was the first time that I felt like this universe just turned into like a cheap haunted house where, I loved the character of Valak in The Conjuring 2. It's going to be a while before I discuss that one. And when they got their own movie, it was like, oh yeah, cool. And Annabelle up to that point didn't do so great, and so The Nun felt like there was a lot of potential to do something cool. It's a period piece. You got one of the scarier entities in this universe as the face of it. They cast Thaisa Farmiga, who I've always really liked. When you watch the movie, and it's literally just like being locked into like a little fun house ride on a fair, and you're just going through hallways when stuff just jumps out and yells at you. That's like the whole movie. Yeah. And so that's just like the cheapest form of modern horror entertainment I can think of. And so the story was a big letdown. It felt very weird to cast Thaisa Farmiga and not have her be in any way connected to the lineage of Lorraine Warren.
Right.
So that was kind of almost a distracting casting in some ways, even though I like her. Yeah. I remember the ending of the movie pissing me off because it was a total ripoff of Demon Knight, where we keep the blood in our mouth and spit it in the face of the demon. It's just like, really? You thought you came up with that? And so, yeah, again, like La Llorona, I don't remember much about this because there's not much to remember. It's just a lot of like, You watch the trailer and that's all the trailer is. And it's like, oh, that's the movie. The trailer is pretty accurate.
Yep. Well, I got a different number 8 here.
Uh-oh.
I'm going with one that I can't stand, and it pissed me off when I watched it for the first time, and that's Annabelle, the first one. It is a horrible movie. Seriously, you come out with The Conjuring, and then they fast-track this movie. I think this came out like a year after the first Conjuring movie.
2014, yeah. 2013 is the first one.
And it just, they didn't, I don't know. I just do not like this story that much. Another just jump scared filled movie, heavily. And I can't stand this movie. I really don't like it at all.
Tell us what you really think about that movie, Josh.
I like the Annabelle. Listen, I like the Annabelle doll, no doubt. I like the way it looks. I like the way, I'm glad they did something different than the real Annabelle doll that the Warrens have.
Raggedy Ann or Ann.
Like my sister had one of those Raggedy Ann dolls when we were kids. So, I never thought it to be scary. So they actually made something that kind of looks, more demonic or whatever. I don't know. But, Annabelle. First Annabelle, number 8 for me.
Well, my number 8 is The Curse of La Llorona. I told Josh a story. We had some construction workers over, and my whole basement looks like a haunted house with all the horror collectibles and stuff I have down there, the animatronics everywhere in the basement. And the gentleman that came down was from Mexico, and I showed him Reagan over here, and he's like, La Llorona. And he really told us, he was bilingual, and he was like, the Hispanic, the Aztec, that culture, that is really scary to them. And that's a big deal for them. And I thought this movie, when I went and watched it just within the last week, I was like, they missed the mark on that big time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I hate to comment on children as actors, but I just couldn't get into the kids playing the parts in this movie. The pros, again, was Linda. I thought she was great in it. She carried that character well. The cons was lack of originality, and it didn't contribute a whole lot to the folklore of it. I think they really missed out, especially with the Hispanic and Latino culture in the U.S. and all over the world. They could have really made this so much better. And to me, they just blew it. And to me, there needed to be more. If they were going to try to connect this with the Conjuring Universe, which they turned around and said they didn't, they needed more connections somehow. They never brought her back into other movies. It was a big miss in my opinion on that.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that about the kids, but that's just honestly.
Jeez, Mike, you're harsh.
Let's just trick or treat. We're taking all the candy away this year for trick or treating. All right, number 7, Cody. What you got on number 7?
Number 7 is a movie I kind of have to have a little asterisk with because obviously it's towards the bottom, means I don't like it, but I also don't think it's near as bad as people say that it is. And maybe that's because I saw it much later, but the first Annabelle. So to immediately follow up, I guess, on what you just said. But no, when Annabelle came out, all I heard was how trash it was, and it was such a massive disappointment, one of the worst horror movies ever. And so I never bothered to see it in theaters. I waited until it was available at home, and me and my wife watched it on like a Sunday night or something, and it wasn't great, but I think because I had heard such extreme hyperbolic statements about it, I was expecting like my life to be ruined. And then when it was just a regular old bad horror movie, I was like, it was all right. So I remember a couple of distinct jump scares in this where you got the little girl running at the doors, it's closing, and all of a sudden a grown woman comes through. I think that's a really good scare, even though jump scares are just like freaking every 5 minutes in this franchise. I liked the way that, or wait, no, it's Annabelle Creation. Okay, never mind. Pause what I was about to say for Annabelle Creation. But Annabelle, I think, is made a little bit better by Annabelle Creation. So maybe even with the way that I like Annabelle Creation, it makes me appreciate some of what this movie did a little bit more and how they utilized it. And yeah, Annabelle as a doll is just a creepy, little character.
Creepy.
I mean, obviously I love my creepy dolls, but so yeah, that's just a thing for me. But yeah, not great. Bottom third of this list, but I don't think it's near as bad as a lot of people say that it is. Not that that
Josh,
means much.
Josh, he's talking to you, by the way.
No, I've heard much worse.
Hey,
Like, oh my God, it's ruined.
Mike's probably gonna diss on some like kids soon again, like about their acting or something.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 more real close here.
Okay.
All right, Josh, what's number 7 for you?
Mine is The Nun 2. I just can't. I just did not. It was like nonsensical to me. I didn't like it. My wife watched it with me, and she was like, "This movie lost me." I was like, "Yeah." I just didn't care for The Nun 2. In my opinion, I thought it had some good, little scares in it and stuff, but for the most part, I don't know if the Valak character has ran out for me or what, but like one of the cool parts was when all those, it was in the trailer with all those papers and they were flipping and then it made the outline of her. That was cool.
That was cool.
But yeah, it's not for me. It's a no for me.
So
I promise, guys, we'll be positive at some point.
Yeah, we're going to get positive here. Maybe not to the final 2, but we're going to get positive. Number 7 for me, and my son, until just recently, would not watch this. He started it. I tried to start my son young and cover your eyes on certain parts. If there was, killing's okay, but sexual stuff, don't look at that. Annabelle. He just recently watched Annabelle, all 3 of them with me again, and within the last couple of weeks. And early on, if he saw that doll, nothing. Kids in high school still talk about it. They're talking about here recently in the last month or 2 that somebody supposedly died in Connections and they lost the doll and all that. But high school kids now still talk about Annabelle. But going to this movie, 2014, the pros is the expansion to me of the the Conjuring Universe. I do like the basement and elevator scene that's in this movie. That was probably the only highlight of it for me. I do agree with Cody that some of the other movies in this series, well, there's 3 Annabelles, how they kind of come back together with the characters. I do like that. But the cons, the main couple to me was just not engaging. They didn't even feel like they were really a couple. I mean, I didn't feel that connection between the two of them. And to me, that movie kind of started out strong, but it just got weaker and weaker and weaker until the point of the elevator scene, and then it just like fell off the cliff for me. So long story short, number 7 is Annabelle 2014, and we'll go down to number 6 with Cody. Cody, what's your number 6?
Number 6 for me is The Nun 2, which is the most recent film, and yet I remember almost nothing about it.
Yeah. Hey, you're lucky.
So
you're lucky.
Yeah, this one, I just remember the atmosphere being pretty good in it, so I have to give props for that. There was a couple of pretty good scares. I know there's the one where like the little girls are like looking through to the weird secret room, and they shine the flashlight, and you get like a little glimpse of Valak. And I like creativity in that way, where it's not just a loud noise scare. It's something where it's just like, ooh, like you just catch a glimpse of something. Much prefer that type of horror. There was somewhat of an interesting expansion on what was going on in the first one with the Frenchie character and everything like that. This was kind of an odd movie for me because when it came out, I was off YouTube for like almost a month. I got like really ill 2 years ago out of nowhere. And just, for some reason for like 2 months, I just did not feel great. Ended up going in and out of the hospital. But this was the first movie that I actually went back to the theaters after I was starting to be on the mend to go and see. And so I was like, you should be really excited, almost like the first movie outside of COVID. It's like, we're back. And I was just sitting there like, it's The Nun 2. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's okay. They had a lot of opportunity to make it really a big improvement from the first one. And it just felt like maybe like one step forward.
So that's, I think you've mentioned both your nuns now or not? Is that
I have.
So, I mean, do you really think they'll even try that franchise again? I guess they're saying The Conjuring, this new one's the last one, but
yeah, right.
Of this phase, now whatever the hell that means. I don't know.
One of the nuns is the one out of all these. One of the nuns is the most made money, right?
The first nun. The first nun has made the most money out of any of these
the Conjuring movies.
Yes.
And I would credit that completely to how creepy the character of Valak is and how great the Conjuring 2 was. So everybody was like, ooh, and it got kind of like the Captain Marvel effect. But will they make a third one? I don't know, because I don't know what this first phase thing means. Like, does that mean we're just going to go to completely new entities in another phase, and we're going to not do any more Annabelles and no more Valaks? I really don't know what that means.
Right.
I think it also depends on how well this new one is received and how much money it makes, because the last one, I think it went straight to streaming because it was like a COVID era movie, but it wasn't received all that well. This is the same guy making this one, and he's the same guy that did La Llorona. Might be the same guy that did Nun 2 for all I know. But yeah, I don't know. This is one of those puzzling franchises where it feels like horror fanatics don't really get it, but your average Joes that aren't really there for all the horror movies think it's the greatest thing ever. So they're much more plentiful than we are. So they might carry this. They might carry this for another 10 years for all we know.
Yep.
All right, Josh, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is The Nun, and I think it is because of I did see this one back then, and I was excited for it because I did like The Conjuring 2. And I thought the story was okay. You mentioned the blood, spitting the blood, like Demon Knight, which is one of my favorite movies. Demon Knight, I love it. And I just really like the character of Valak, and so maybe this is more of a rose-colored glasses type thing where I saw it like, this is okay. Not saying it's that much better than Nun 2 or anything. I'm not trying to say that, but I thought the opening with the nuns was decent. I did like the thing in the cemetery where all the crosses and stuff were there, and it was like, that was kind of like keeping the evil in the church. and then also the stuff in the graveyard where in the coffin and you had to ring those bells, and if you were still alive like they did back then.
Yeah,
I thought
that
was
really
kind of
happened.
cool. Yeah, that kind of stuck out to me. But yeah, it's The Nun is number 6 for me.
Well, my number 6 is The Nun 2. The Nun 2, I thought it was better than the first. I did like some of the cinematography in it. It was a little different, some scenes in it. To me, there's not enough Valak in it until the very, very end. I mean, most of the time it's like a demon, the goat. You know, you see, I do like that little story where they're talking about looking at the girls are trying to tease the one girl and the light shining through, and they're like, well, if you look away, a goat will come after you, a ram or goat, whatever. But
yeah.
And that goat and ram's pretty scary looking, but it's a big jump scare when it's running around the stairs and stuff. But there's just not enough. There's not enough Valak until the very end of the last 10 minutes of it. I mean, you'll see a glimpse here and there. But for a movie to be Nun 2 and you kind of have that main character everybody knows Valak, and you don't have her enough. I don't think they've done enough with the Valak character. They've gave the backstory on it, but they haven't flushed it completely out. I know it's a demon, really, but I don't know. I just really think they've messed up that Valak character, and it's a really scary character that a lot of people, if they're in the Catholic belief and the faith, then nuns are holy anyway, and they're like, "Whoa, this is I just think they've really made a mistake on that. So number 6 for me was The Nun 2. So now we're at 5. Our top 5 best movies. Cody, what is number 5 for you?
Number 5 for me is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Also known as The Conjuring 3 for those of us that hate long ass titles. But this was a massive disappointment. Like for me, if you're going to do offshoots and give different directors a shot and have mixed results, that's fine. But if this is going to be like a cinematic universe, which it is, to me, the Conjuring movies should be treated like the Avengers movies. Like this is where you pull out all the stops.
Yep.
These must be our top tier. Our event films, and this one just felt like another one of these movies, and it's like, why? I don't know if James Wan didn't want to come back. I don't know if they didn't ask him back, or if there was too much money, or whatever happened. If James Wan isn't making The Conjuring, I don't care, because this is the one example we have, and like I said, it was the guy that made La Llorona, which is like, if you're gonna give the job to anybody, why the fuck do you pick him?
Right? Why do you pick him?
Yeah, and so I mean, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, they do good with what they're given. I think it was interesting that by the end of it, it turned out to be a human threat and not a supernatural threat. It was like this witch. So that was at least a little bit of a switch there. The CGI is ramped up quite a bit here, and not in a good way.
Right.
The case itself is not nearly as interesting as the cases of the first 2 films, nor the characters. So this is still like in the very forgettable territory for me. Like the only things I remember about it are what I just described. The other, 85 minutes of the movie is like, I don't know, you put a gun to my head, I can't describe a single scene of this film. So that was one that I watched twice, and both times. First time it was again like a COVID era movie, so it was like, oh, thank God, movies. And then the second time I watched it, I was just like, no, don't need to ever experience that again.
That's right. No, I'm in agreement with you, because it's my number 5 as well. And I remember when that first came out, I think I watched it and Mike watched it on the same day, and I said, Mike, this is a piece of crap. Like this is like, I just don't like it. And it goes on. That's one thing about the base Conjuring movies, like Conjuring 1, 2, and 3. They just go on and on and on to me. It's like, okay, man. Okay. I know you want to do all this supernatural stuff, and I get it with the ghosts.
I've seen this chair slide across the room 20 times now. Okay, we don't need to see it slide across the room again.
But it just goes on and on and on, and it just seems like, and this one does the exact same thing. Now it does do some cool like tributes, I guess. I mean, they have like an Exorcist tribute, with the guy comes and then there's a couple other ones. I don't remember them right now, but the Exorcist one was cool. The kid on the table that turns into a knot, kind of like at the beginning. I mean, that was like okay. I mean,
that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, we've seen stuff like that before, but he was pretty contorted. So anything like that. And then, like you said, the switch where it was like the witch who was cursing them was okay. but I think I read or saw that this was in real life. This was a case where he, the guy, shot his landlord or killed his landlord, and he said the devil made him do it. And it was one of the first times where they claimed in court that the demonic or devil or demonic entity, forced someone to kill somebody. And of course, that's not going to stand up in court. And the guy ended up doing
25 years. He got 20
the guy did prison
years.
time because you can't claim stuff like that. So and get away with it. So I just think it's in the middle. It's not the worst, but they could have done a lot better. And like you said, Cody, they might as well hand the reins over to David Gordon Green, give him a shot on Conjuring 3.
Oh, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a comedy out of it, or love story. So, just don't do a Halloween, please, God, no. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is number 5 for me. I'm not going to beat this over with a stick. It's just somehow all three of us have picked this, and none of us knew what the other one was going to pick. Pros: Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, great as always. I do like a little bit. It's a little bit different that there's a mystery here versus a haunted house the whole time.
Yeah,
but I didn't think the scares were that great in this movie. It just really didn't scare me. And I thought it was a weak climax. And then all of a sudden, you show at the very end, he's standing up in court and he's looking back. You had a chance or something for, I don't know, to see a cross light up in a window or something like, okay, God's, I'm getting 25 instead of 50 years in prison. It was bad. So we're going to leave it at that. It's bad. Now the top 4 movies in The Conjuring. So number 4, Cody, for you?
So my top 4, these are the only movies of this franchise that I wouldn't put up too much of a fight to rewatch. So now we're at least in good territory. Number 4 for me is Annabelle Comes Home. This, to me, of all the movies that's just like a little haunted house type feature, this one is the most entertaining of them. It's basically just like a showcase for all these ideas that they had for new entities. And I think that the ones that they came up with were pretty cool. It's led by McKenna Grace. I like her a lot. I enjoyed the fact that the Warrens are kind of the setup for the movie, and then they just kind of leave they don't take the spotlight too much. Teenage girls stuck in a haunted house with all this demonic shit is kind of an interesting little setup there that you could very easily believe with a house like the Warrens, where like they just got demons locked up in the little closet back there. They don't go in that room. And so it's not like very deep, it's just, hey, somebody opened up the Annabelle doll and now we got all these entities and it's a haunted house, jump scare fest. But I liked the new ghost, like they had, I think it was called the ferryman or the boatman or something with the coins. That was a really cool one. I think they had one that was kind of like La Llorona. It was like a dead bride. And then they had a werewolf, and I was expecting the werewolf to be a little bit more there because I'm a big vampire werewolf guy. But it's just for a little fright fest PG-13 type movie, I thought it was fun enough. So that one comes in at 4.
And I'm right there with you. Annabelle Comes Home is number 4. I thought this movie was okay. I like you said, I like all the different kind of characters that they brought up. I like that the Warrens weren't the main focus. They kind of brought it in, like you said. They did handle the Annabelle doll, and then they realized all that stuff that happened to them at that graveyard. They're like, oh man, we need to get this locked away. So, that's all I say. Number 4, not a bad movie.
God, guys, I'm like, I need to go first next time because my number 4 is Annabelle Comes Home 2019. Out of 9 movies, we're going to have the same top 4, I guess.
I don't think so. Well,
the pros, the young cast, I really like the young teenagers and the young girls. The Warren's daughter was in it. The cinematography I thought was pretty good in some of the scenes on it. Most of this takes place in their house. Again, it's a haunted house. It's a room down the basement. Don't go down there. Of course, kids are going to do the opposite of what they're supposed to do. The Conzo, though, I thought it was kind of predictable. Again, I would watch this. This is, definitely one I'd watch again. I have to admit. Now, the spirits, again, I thought there was a little bit. I didn't mind the new spirits, but I wanted a little bit more backstory on some of the new spirits, like a little bit more detail about them. And some of those may be willing, maybe they don't want to do La Llorona, but at least take the bride in there, maybe do a story with that. Who knows? But I wanted a little more backstory in that. But other than that, number 4 for me. And now we're in our top 3. So, Cody, what is number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me is going to be Annabelle Creation. I thought this was a massive improvement from the first film. And as far as non-James Wan Conjuring directors, I don't understand why they haven't gotten this guy more. I'm blanking on his name again because it's late, but he's the guy that did the Lights Out movie and the 2 Shazam films, and then just recently did Until Dawn, I think is the name of the video game one. So yeah, he does a really good job here at being a prequel. Tells a really good, solid story about how the demonic entity kind of got into the doll. I thought that the kid actors and everything were really good. One of them, especially, who's in like peril the entire movie, did a really good job. The scares in it were solid. I mean, we watched this at home, and the one where you got the little girl looking out the window with her back turned, and she comes over, or she turns around and says like, "I'll eat your soul," or whatever the hell she says. That was one that actually, like, whoa, like I remember that getting me. So that's a solid one. And going back to what I was saying earlier with Annabelle, I think the way that they end this movie by looping it back around to Annabelle actually kind of makes Annabelle a little bit better. They kind of did the same thing with the Ouija movies, where the first one came out, wasn't all that great. The second one was a prequel, and they kind of explain everything, and it loops back around. It kind of makes you a little bit more interested to revisit the first one again. So yeah, this one is just a solid little haunted doll type movie that I wish all the other side cools, whatever you want to call them, were of this caliber.
Right. Josh?
My number 3 is the original Conjuring movie. So yes. Yep. My number 3 is the original Conjuring movie. I rewatched this and I really liked it. I thought it was obviously well done. I remember when this came out, I went and seen it in the theater. And the trailer grabbed me, with the clapping and all that game that they play. The scene where the Bathsheba is the entity or the demon or the witch or whatever in this one, and she like is on top of that cabinet. Like all of a sudden you look up.
Oh yeah, that was pretty creepy. Whoa. That reminded me a lot of Linda Blair right here jumping down.
Yeah, and you learn about the Warrens and all of that. And I do, every time I see the dad, though, I think of Office Space, I mean, every time the dad in The Conjuring, I'm like, where he's like, did anybody ever, has anybody ever, I told you had a case of the Mondays. But yeah, so yeah, that's that. And like I said, the clap game can be kind of intense. And, but again, too long of a movie. Probably could have cut about 15, 20 minutes off of this, in my opinion. But yeah, still very solid, great direction. I mean, he had a vision for this, and it was really good. So, yep.
All right, so number 3 for me, and I promise you I have not seen Cody's list, is Annabelle Creation 2017.
That just means we have the correct list.
Yeah, I'm not looking at Rotten Tomato scores either. Directors versus popcorn meter. So the pros, I thought this was the best of the Annabelle movies. I did like the young actors in it. I thought they were really good. I thought it was a strong integration, kind of story of how Annabelle came about from the beginning when the daughter was killed or hit by the car and stuff coming. So you kind of understood that. And then the mother that had her face covered and all that. So I kind of liked that story. It was a little different. Again, I think it made the other 2 Annabelle movies better in the long run. One thing I didn't like, I thought the jump scares were kind of predictable in it. And I thought, this is going to sound crazy, but I thought I actually read this from somewhere else, and I was like, yeah, that's what I was trying to put my tongue on that, or that's the way to clarify it, is there didn't seem to be defining on how the demons had their power and what stopped them and what didn't stop them. Like they may shut a door one time and it stopped the demon from coming through the room, and the next time the demon would be in two different places in the house. So it was just a little bit odd for me, but still a solid movie, a top 3 for me. I'd watch it again tonight. It's not bad, not bad.
Yep.
So now we're into our top 2. So Cody, what is number 2 for you?
All right. So the top 2, I both think are genuinely great, and it's just a matter of taste. I could understand either answer being number 1 or number 3. But number 2 is Conjuring 2. I took my wife to go see this, and it was one of the coolest and most entertaining horror movie theater experiences. This is back when theaters would be packed to the brim with a brand new horror release like this. And it's one of the stories that I've told before, but it's just there's very few theatrical experiences where I have something happen that almost is just as memorable as the movie, where you get to the scene where the little girl is left at the home by herself during the day, and the TV starts to mess up, and she goes over and plays with it, and it shows the shadow of the guy sitting in the chair, and then she turns around, and it keeps reversing the shot, and then on the third time his face is next to her, and he goes, "My house." Yeah. So during that scene, I'm middle, 2/3 of the way back in this big packed theater, and we're watching that scene, and everybody's tense, everybody's quiet. You can hear a pin drop, and then as soon as that guy's face showed up and it says, "My house," there was this guy in the front row that shot out of his seat and ran out of the theater and never came back.
Really?
Never came back. I always love that memory. But as the movie, I think it was a really good follow-up. I like how you kind of get intro into the Amityville horror, and then suddenly you get this new case going on that there was some interesting twists and turns going through it, where it kind of feels like the same setup as the first one. There's a little girl or a family that's haunted that I'm not really sure what's going on. And then 2/3 of the way through the movie, it shows her creating all the stuff. And so they leave, and it turns out it was a setup, really nice little back and forth. Of course, you got the Valak, you've got Crooked Man, and all these other ones that are really cool and effective in there. Some great sequences. I even one of the best scenes in the movie to me is where they just pause for a minute, and you got Patrick Wilson playing Elvis. It's in the middle of all this crazy shit, and it's we're gonna take a breath for a moment and just sing some Elvis. And so I like those human moments that you don't get if James Wan is not the one making the movie. So the only thing that keeps this at number 2 for me is that where I don't really have this problem with the first one, I agree Conjuring 2 is a bit too long. It's 15 minutes too long. You're it's exhausting by the time you get to the third act. But really, really good movie, great scares, and James Wan just knows how to make these movies as good as they can be. So it stands to reason why his are the top 2 for me.
Right. Yeah, he does a great job. And my number 2 is The Conjuring 2. I watched this for the first time probably not too long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Like you said, the opening with the Amity house, I thought it was cool. It's always funny that they didn't do a whole movie on that, because they always say this is their most famous case, but isn't the Amity their most famous case technically? I mean all the stuff. I would
say so.
Right, but they always say this is their most famous case. It's I never heard of it, but I've heard of Amity. So I don't know, but they kind of just put it in this movie, but they didn't make a huge deal about it.
It's probably because it's just been done to death.
Yeah, that's right. That's probably, you're right about that. But yeah, like the stuff with the painting with Valak and all of that, and then of course the stuff over there in England, and I like it where the cops are there, and then they see it and they're like, "Oh, we can't help you now." They're like, "We can't do anything about this." So
that's one of the few things in one of their movies that's actually true, though, that has been documented, that the police officer said they saw a chair move across the room and there was no strings attached. A lot of these movies, if you start diving into them, most of it's not documented. So there's a lot of people that were involved with these are like, hey, 80-90% of this is just made up. It's only about 5% or 10% of it's really from the case that really happened. But
right, yeah, I have a question. After we're all done with the ranking, I do have a question for Cody about this franchise. We'll get into that, but go ahead, Mike.
My number 2 is Conjuring 2. Okay. So I guess me and Cody have the same number 1. I guess we have the same top 4, I believe.
Jeez,
we may
Mike,
only have 1 or 2 movies different the whole time.
You're kissing butt,
maybe
Mike.
I should have went for. I'll go first next time then. Pros. I thought it was a very high level fright. There was a great buildup in this movie, and the introduction of Alec, that character. I mean, I think started that whole thing. I mean, it was she's a great character. Again, I've said it earlier. I think they've screwed it up.
He's like the pinhead of this franchise.
Yeah. The cons. Thought I had the same thing down. Long movie, feels a tad long, and I thought it relied on CGI a lot in this movie. But overall, it's a really strong movie in this franchise. I can see how people now, like, you know, the first couple Conjurings that came out, they're like, "Man, I love this franchise," and I think it's kind of like the early Halloweens, and you're like, "Man, I love this franchise," and then the rest of them just go, "Oh shit," you know. But they still love The Conjuring because it's just called The Conjuring. The first couple were really good. So that's my number 2. And I guess we know Cody's number 1, but go ahead, Cody, and tell us why you like that one.
Yeah, so number 1 for me is The Conjuring. It's not like a huge leap from 2, but I've always preferred this one. I was a massive fan of the Insidious movies up to this point. I've since fallen a little bit out of love with them. They've kind of burnt me out, but I could not wait for James Wan's next thing. And they really got me with the hype train on this one because it was like the first movie that got rated R specifically because it was scary. It wasn't because of gore or violence. No. It was just, this is so frightening. We don't want 13-year-olds watching it. And it was like, what the fuck does that mean? Can't wait to see this.
Right.
I don't think it quite measures up to that, but I think it's a really good story that has some pretty classic elements with, you know, a witch and a haunted and everything, but it's done in kind of a different way. I just like the way that James Wan crafts scares. You know, he is somebody that does rely on jump scares and things like that, but I think the way that he does them is a little bit more interesting and entertaining for me. I don't feel cheap whenever he does them. So you got a movie with a lot of great setups of that. I like how we have 2 different families in the movie and you really care about both of them. And then eventually when they integrate and, you know, wall up inside of this house, you guys were talking about earlier, some really great iconic moments like the clap game, or even just the jump scare where she's on top of the armoire, and that's, you know, one of the best jump scares of all time in my opinion.
Yeah, really good.
You got the really good one downstairs where it shows just the feet, and you know the witch is hung, and then all of a sudden it turns around and starts floating towards the camera. Like just really good crafty stuff that doesn't rely on just loud noises and bangs and a fucking cat jumping on a piano and stuff like that we've seen before. and so I just think it's a really good movie, and this one actually to me was scarier when I watched it at home. I saw it in theaters opening weekend and I was like, that was really good. I don't think it quite matched up to the whole scariest thing ever hype at all. And then when I watched it at home, it was like a fall night or something like that. And just something about being home felt more vulnerable watching this. And so it was a much better watch at home, which I can't think of too many movies where I had that distinct thought of like, this is more effective now. So yeah, to me, that's easily the top 2 are easily the best of this franchise. I could understand either one being somebody's favorite. But number 1 is mine.
Yep. And
what you got,
listen, the one I enjoyed the most surprised me too. Annabelle Creations. I don't know. There's something about the story. I like how the little girl is kind of like a twist with a little girl, and you know, turned out to be, you know, she took the name of Annabelle, and like you said, that does make the first one a little bit better. But I just didn't enjoy the first one. But I do like that part where they made it into the next movie. Like when I first watched that Creation, and then that little girl got like hit at the beginning, I was like, wait, what? Like I didn't see that coming. And yeah, I just really like this. I like the demon character in it that's controlling Annabelle, and it preys on grief and stuff like that. That's how it can get, you know, people. And I like that one shot where that girl has that gun thing and it shoots that ball out on a string. And she shoots it in the closet, and then all of a sudden it like raises like 8 feet in the air. and you're like, whoa. So, but no, I really enjoyed this movie, honestly, and I didn't get bored with it, and I didn't sit there and say, oh, this is way too long either. So, yeah, I enjoyed this one. So it's number one for me.
Okay. Well, of course, mine's Conjuring number one, the first one, 2013.
Yep.
Pros, I love the building, the building of the scares throughout. It like builds up. I really enjoyed that. I thought it had some genuine scares, going back and compared to some of the other ones. Of course, this was the first one. And the genuine scares is what y'all mentioned earlier, the person on top of the armoire or whatever that was, a hutch. And, then there's also a scene in there where, the clapping and you look behind it and there's, something's behind, there's a hole in the wall behind it and the little girl's in there. And also, this was one of those that was based off true events, which most of them are supposed to be, supposedly, the Prawn family, and that was huge in England. I mean, it was really huge. Here, we don't think it's so much. You don't know about it, but when you start investigating that a little bit more, it was huge in England. And I thought
about the second movie, right? The second movie took place in England, Mike, not the first.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I thought the acting overall was really good. I thought the acting was also good in it. And some of the cons, sometimes is you still a haunted house, this, that, and the other, demonology, but that goes all the way back to Exorcist, and it's hard to capture that after that. But I thought they did a good job overall. So that's my number one, and I'm sticking to it. And you're wrong, Josh.
Okay, yeah, and that's fine. I can be wrong. It's totally fine.
I'm just messing with you, man.
So, Cody, I would like to ask you a question. So they do say based on a true story, and I don't know if you've come to answering this or not, but do you buy into Ed and Lorraine Warren? Do you think they were legit, or did you think that it was a lot of made up hocus pocus?
And you don't have to comment on that. You could, we're giving you out there too if you want to out. But
I mean, I'm coming from a place of ignorance because I have not done any research whatsoever. But I'm somebody that has not really experienced anything supernatural, and I know that they are just as well known for being infamous con artists in some circles as they are for being the most famous demonologist in the others. Right. So I tend to lean on the side of it probably being bullshit.
Yeah, me too.
Especially being heightened for the movies. I don't think anything that this is, based on a true story is like 10% of our ingredients may be true story. The rest of it is all Hollywood.
Sure. Yeah.
That goes all the way back to 1974 too, and either earlier than that when you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like this based off a true story at the very beginning. And there may be this much, Ed Gein was the true part of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like believe as much as you want, but the truth, is somewhere in there, maybe.
Well, you're talking about the one in England, the Prawn family, the daughter, the oldest daughter in there. She was still alive now. And she said that only 5% of that movie was even based off what really happened. That was documented.
They got to make it entertaining.
Yeah, so. The police officer did come there, and they saw the chair move themselves with no strings attached or anything. And they're the ones that said, "Okay, we'll get somebody, a priest or something, to come in." But then the scene down in the basement with her in the chair and the chair levitating up, she said that was true. That's what they really saw. But that is the Conjuring, all 9 movies, and now we got the new one coming out next week. This video will probably come out the week before, so it'll be interesting to see down the road where that one comes in that top 9, and we'll have the top 10 Conjuring at that time. But any final thoughts, Cody, on your overall opinion on the Conjuring universe?
A lot of wasted potential, in my opinion. Now, money doesn't lie, so they could give a fuck what I say, and they absolutely should not, or should, not give a shit, but what I say. But yeah, I mean, for the Conjuring and the Conjuring 2, and I'll even throw Annabelle Creation in there being so strong, it's very frustrating for me that, like, after that, it just seems like they don't care. It's like, whatever, just get a movie out there. It's going to make money. They're idiots. After enough movies, I feel insulted as a horror fan, where it's like, can we get a little effort, maybe? Like, I know The Nun made a lot of money and The Nun 2 is going to make a lot of money, but can you try?
Just a little bit.